Hello, my name is Sammy Bradar, editor for the National Provisioner. I'm here today with Lucy Woods for Cargill Protein North America. Today we're going to be talking about a recent consumer study the Cargill team completed on the future of burgers. Now, this research, led in part by Woods, explored how consumers currently define burger quality, where they're still willing to trade up, and how expectations are evolving across both retail and food service. So, Lucy, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit down with me. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Just to get into this conversation, Lucy, more than half of consumers in this study said that patty defines burger quality. So, why is the patty carrying so much weight in consumer perception of value?
I know, isn't that interesting, Sammy? So that was a big learning from this research project. So I did research on burgers, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, and one of the insights from there was it's the total of the parts. It's the complete burger is what made it a quality burger. So it was a new shift this year when we had more than half of the consumers say it's the quality of the meat in the burger patty that determines if it's a premium quality burger. That was new. I think a lot of that is the importance of protein in consumers' lives right now. I think access just to knowledge, we all have the world at our fingertips, and I think consumers are getting smarter and smarter about anything they want to research, and protein is top of mind. I think a lot of people have learned a lot about meat and burgers. You're seeing more premium burgers in retail, which helps educate consumers. So I think that's a lot driving the shift of no, I want a good burger patty. And one more thing that I think is driving it is the growth of what I call the burger specialists. So if you think the Five Guys, the Shake Shacks, Whataburger, Culver's, you go into their restaurants and they have like pictures of cows on the wall. Their messaging is 100% beef. They are really doubling down on talking about the meat is the most important, is like the first thing they think about when they build a burger. So I think that's educating and pushing consumers as well to be like, oh, we have to start with a really good burger and go from there.
Absolutely. That's fascinating. Now, Lucy, the research found that those premium cues like Angus and sirloin continue to resonate strongly with consumers. Now, what distinguishes premium claims that influence those purchasing decisions from those that fail to connect with consumers? I mean, claims-based meats, there's a million claims out there. So, what claims truly resonate?
It's the number 100.
Yeah.
We tested like, and you're right. It was hard to narrow the list down from 60 possible ways, claims that we could use on burgers versus how many we could actually ask about. We narrowed it down and both in Canada and in the United States, the number 100 is really meaningful to people. I think I had to ask them, like, I went back to people. I'm like, why is 100% so meaningful to you? And they're like, well, you can't use the number 100% without it being true. So there's some checks and balances that consumers trust. They like the purity and just like the hard number of it's 100% beef, it's 100% delicious, 100% juicy. Isn't that funny? Just the number 100%. All of those rose to the top, 100% beef, 100% pure beef. And so as a marketer, I'm like, well, how can we have some fun with that 100%? And like I had said, 100% juicy, 100% delicious. And then when it came to the cuts and the type of beef used, that also it resonates really strongly with consumers. 100% Angus or just Angus on its own has always scored really high with all consumers and especially with boomers, like older consumers, as in 55 plus. I think they're just more familiar with meat in general with their years behind them. And younger consumers resonate more for like Wagyu, organic, natural. And then we're also seeing pops with sirloin. That is also a really familiar type of meat with consumers. So I think it's familiarity, indicators of high quality meat all push consumers. Those are the claims that resonate most with them.
That's fascinating. I love looking at generational segmentation and how things are differently viewed among different generations because it can seem we like to use the term consumers as a broad blanket statement, but it just doesn't work that way. So I find it fascinating to look at those different segments that way. Now, Lucy, we're talking about quality and premiumization. Despite ongoing economic pressures, consumers in this study from Cargill showed that they're willing to trade up for quality. What does this willingness to trade up tell us about how consumers define value in the overall burger category?
There's like three bullet points behind that, at least. Like it's an important, a nuanced topic right now on what is quality and what is value and what do consumers need. And Sammy, it's not clear all the time. You had just mentioned generations, and each generation is in a different life stage. And something as simple as Gen Z has less money in their bank account than boomers do right now. And that can have a big difference on their needs when they're going to eat a burger. Like, how much can they actually spend? Boomers over index with, I want like simple, high quality ingredients. They really seek out pure, clean ingredients and simple, intuitive food. Gen Z, on the other hand, is like, I just need it to be affordable and delicious. But they are very price sensitive because of their life stage. Like some of them are still living with their parents, you know? But then we're also seeing, so we do this fun activity. It's called social listening, and we go and we find all the things we can online that people are saying about burgers. And one of them is about leveraging the different cuts. A lot of this is happening at independent restaurants and casual sit down independent restaurants. So, where it's really chef led, they have fun with the experience and pushing the food boundaries. And consumers are going there looking for something new, like wow me, show me something I haven't seen before. And we're seeing a lot of different cuts being used, if that's Wagyu or different blends in the patty, the inclusions that they're using in the patty, different global fusions that might be happening, if it's topping it with like carnitas or shredded beef on top of the, or even an egg or breaded chicken. So extra protein toppings on the burgers. And then we're kind of, and you have different circumstances too, you know, Sammy, like you might be like at work and you need a quick lunch. And so you might be like, oh, I want it to fill me up. I want to feel satiated, but I still don't want to spend too much and I want it to be really fast. So if you hit on all those things, that's going to be the value for the consumer in that moment. Or it might be Friday night or Saturday night, and you're taking your partner out to dinner and you want an experience and you want a drink and you want something really delicious and more food than you even want. And so that's where you might look for a bigger burger and ingredients you don't usually see in other places. But we're also, when we look at the actual servings, like the numbers, we're seeing, and let's say if you look at a restaurant menu, you're going to have like an affordable burger, just the core middle-sized burger, and a big burger. We're seeing growth on big burgers and small affordable burgers. And that middle is just, it's holding on, but it's like people are pulling back on their finances. So they're not eating out as much. They're managing their household spend because it's tough out there, right? And so they're like, okay, I'm not eating out as much, but when I do, I really want it to be good. I want to get exactly what I'm craving. So we're seeing a bump in bigger burgers. But then we also are like, oh, I need to manage my spend, but I'm away from home and I need to eat something. It's going to be a burger. I'm just going to get this affordable burger right here. So you see how it gets kind of complicated on what's premium and what's value. We have demographics, we have occasions, we have managing your income. But yeah.
There's so many variables to navigate. It truly is difficult to just wrap it all in one perfect bow. You know, when I look at value, I think so much of the time everything's so expensive. So I think people are just like, if I'm going to spend my hard-earned dollars, I want it to be something good. And when the industry looks at quality and value through that lens, it's just fascinating.
hmm
Absolutely. Now, Lucy, the research found that those younger consumers like Gen Z and millennials are driving experimentation while still gravitating towards familiar burger foundations. How can manufacturers think about innovation in this category where consumers want both novelty and that familiarity?
I'm glad you asked about that because that was a really exciting thing that we found in that social listening where we go online and we're like, what are people doing with burgers? What is new with burgers? And we found this really, there's two things. One I already mentioned, which is the global fusion has reached burgers. It's so funny to me. I've been studying food, my whole career. But food, like I've been watching global trends in food happening. I think we all have for like 5 years. So when you think of traditionally European cuisines like burgers and hot dogs and pasta, you're like, well, what's going to happen, you know? And all of a sudden we're seeing the macro global food trend come to burgers. I'm like, of course it did. And we're seeing like masala spices being smashed into the burger patty. Like I had mentioned earlier, we're seeing like quesadilla, like Hispanic fusion happening, and they're topping it with birria and dipping it in consomme and putting Oaxacan cheese on it and maybe tostada, what are those crispy corn crisps
The
on the burger?
strips.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for that extra crunch. I'm like, that is so interesting and exciting. And you know who it really resonates with? Gen Z. They love it. They're like, I did this concept test and all those global fusion, and we even did like a Korean barbecue with like a fermented coleslaw on it. And they all over indexed with Gen Z. They're like, oh, now you're talking. Like, I love that. But we can't get away from the fact that the traditional craveable burger is still why people go out to eat burgers and even make burgers at home. So I don't want us to get distracted with shiny objects when it comes to like where are burgers going and what's the future. I actually believe that it's making sure that it's that quality, craveable burger that consumers go out and prepare to make at home, the good quality patty, the delicious cheese that melts just right, the good bun with butter, crisped a little bit on the grill, maybe full leaf lettuce. Just that is really what people want from a burger, but there are some fun things. And the one other thing is this new behavior around burgers, which is dipping your burger in some sort of a sauce. I believe it's come over from chicken. You know, we had the chicken wars the past couple of years, and we've been seeing that category explode with tenders and sandwiches, and especially tenders. I think
Mhm.
people like chicken tenders just so they can have sauces. I honestly believe that. They love sauces, especially millennials. They're like the driving force between sauce. They're like, I'll order anything as long as I can have a flight of sauces on the side. Like, surprise me and let me have fun. And so we've been seeing that even in with burgers. We see people dipping it in consomme, which I mentioned, which is more of like a Hispanic fusion, nacho cheese sauce, Sammy. How delicious does that sound?
On a burger?
Yes, you take a burger and you dip it in nacho cheese sauce, and then you have like a sip of your soda. It's so good.
That sounds so American. I love it.
And then so we're seeing that behavior, and then we're also seeing people at restaurants mostly because it gets a little messy, but they'll dip it in like a sauce of some sort, and then they'll dip it in like a crunchy coating. So it could be crunchy onions or parm cheese. So you get that dual texture. It's an interactive experience. It's more than just a meal, but you're actually having an experience and more of a moment with yourself or whoever else it is that you're with. So that's kind of a fun thing. And I feel, can I say one more, Sammy, that I'm kind of excited about? You're like, go for it,
Absolute,
Lucy.
absolutely. Say as much as you'd like.
All right, so I'll wrap it up with this one, but it's sliders. I mean, they're introducing a lot of fun things to burgers because you can, let's say you order or make at home like a flight of 3 burgers. You're gonna start with like a basic slider, the patty and the bun, and then you can set out a bunch of ingredients and you can have some fun with experimenting different ways and different builds of burgers. One could be that craveable traditional burger everyone's familiar with. The other could be this like Hispanic fusion type of burger. Another one could be the Korean barbecue or hot sauce or trying with different mustards. So the sliders, well, small in food service, I think it's like 7% of servings. It's growing. I think it grew 10% in servings last year. So those are the three areas that I am pretty excited about for the news of burgers in the future.
It sounds like the summation of all these trends is that burgers, they have to have that solid foundation with the patty. The patty's almost like the base of the boat, but it's a vehicle for all of these other high quality ingredients like the sauces, like these different toppings. The phenomenon with sliders almost sounds to me like a taco bar. Like you're having friends over and you're all trying out these different toppings. So I think with everybody's craving those togetherness, those occasions where they can get together and be social, especially since the pandemic. So I wonder how beef will play into that moving forward. That's fascinating. Now, Lucy, based on this research, where do you think the meat industry, the beef industry in particular, is getting burger quality right? And where is it overcomplicating things? I think sometimes we get a little bit too overcomplicated. Do we need to simplify?
I don't know if it's simplifying, but I do think there's a reinforced focus on the eating experience of the burger patty itself. If it's how thick is the burger patty on the burger, because consumers love picking up that burger and be like, look at that meat. They love it. And you don't want it to get lost in the bun. So making sure it's so silly. It's this funny little science on how perfectly does the burger patty fit on the bun. You don't want it hanging over the side. You don't want it getting lost inside the bun. You want it kind of fitting just perfect. And you consumers do prefer one thick patty instead of stacked multiple patties. And then when it comes to the eating, like making sure the ratio of the ingredients is just right. And did you know that one of the number one drivers of satisfaction is the juiciness of the burger?
I'm
So
not surprised, not
I
surprised at all.
it's so making sure that we have the lean point correct. So consumers are like, oh, that's really hitting the spot, with the juiciness of the burger. So I don't actually know if it's a simplification or if we're overcomplicating. I mean, me being in the science of consumer research, I actually think it's like a new focus on making sure that we are meeting consumers' expectation of a delicious burger. So it's making sure we're doing that.
Absolutely. Now, with that preference for the one thick, juicy patty, how does that smash burger trend fall into that? Where do you think that popularity came from if the consumer demand is overall for that one thick, juicy patty versus maybe three smashed and stacked patties?
I love that you asked that because we did call 2025 the year of the smash burger, didn't we? It was
Yeah.
everywhere and it's still everywhere. And when I did consumer interviews, so we recruit a variety of different consumers in different regions, different ages, different urbanicities, and smash burgers came up in almost every interview. And they were like, "Oh, I love that the premium aspect of the smash burger. It tells me that someone did something to my burger when I ordered it. It tells me that they took the time and they put that secret ingredients of love in the burger that I'm about to eat, and the crispy edges and the juiciness of the smash burger. They love it. It does usually have to be stacked, so you're right about that. And inverse, I always say there's a counter trend to a trend. So I'm kind of just keeping my eye on it. But I found within that social listening that we did, we had some consumers say, okay, enough of the smash burger. I'm ready for a thick, juicy tavern bistro burger cooked to my temp, So, I mean, they were having a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's going anywhere. It's still one of the top scoring concepts when we ask. It's the smash burger, then the juicy Lucy, and then the tavern burger. So don't they
Mhm.
all have a place, you know?
Yeah,
Let's
they
give
do.
them variety.
Different people prefer different things. You're not going to find a whole, everybody prefers smash burgers, everybody prefers the thick, juicy patty. There's going to be people on every sort of side. I know some people, yeah, they love that smash burger. They love the customization, the personalization. Me personally, I want a big, juicy patty. I've had enough of the smash burgers, but that's just me. Everybody has their own preference, and there's room for all of those preferences, just like you said. Now, Lucy, this is actually my last question for you, but looking at processors specifically, how should processors and product developers apply these insights as they think about future burger innovation?
I think for processors, it's keeping the importance of the quality of the burger patty top of mind. And so any optimization that has to be done, making sure we're doing like sensory work with consumers to test, is this still delivering a satisfying burger to consumers? So they're going to keep coming back, keep buying it. So I think making sure the quality of the meat is at the center of all the decisions that we make. So that's for the processors. But I think for the restaurant operators or even grocers, retailers, having I hope to inspire the culinary aspects that so that we can inspire consumers to keep buying ground meat, keep going out for burgers, trying new things, continue to crave the burgers as they do, and come up with new ways to keep consumers coming out for burgers or making them at home. So I'm trying to do it on both sides, quality burger and menu innovation.
Absolutely. That's fascinating. And thank you for all of these insights. Now, Lucy, is there anything else about this new burger research, burger trends, or Cargill's research efforts in general that you'd like to share with the provisioner audience?
I don't think so. I think we just think it's so important to keep the consumer at the center of all of our decisions that we make and all of the conversations that we have with all of our customers. We like to keep a pulse on like food macro trends, the importance of nutrients, if that's protein or fiber, um, and and our categories, if that's we didn't even get to talk about sides. French fries. You can't have burgers without French fries. So maybe for the
No.
next one, Sammy. But we always want to know, like, what's going on with consumers? What are they thinking? What are their barriers? What are their motivations? And how can we make good business decisions based on that?
Absolutely. Without the consumers, there's nothing to sell. So it's got to all come through them and what they're craving, what they want. So keeping a pulse on these trends is paramount. And I really want to thank you for taking time out of your day to sit down and talk through these trends with me. I really appreciate it. And I know our processor audience will as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love sharing things I learn.
Absolutely. It's the best part of life, right?
Hmm.
Well, thank you so much. Again, we have Lucy Woods with Cargill Protein North America. I'm Sammy Bradar with the National Provisioner. Thank you so much for watching.